the next Georgia linebacker that we wanted to talk about was the other guy, the main guy, number 17, Nakobe Dean. Now this dude, I'm not gonna lie to you. I said it to Deke when he walked in. Deke kind of said it back to me. I said, Deke, can you see my screen? I want you to see my screen. Okay. You see Nakobe Dean right here, right? Just read off what I just highlighted. Just read off what that line says. It's like literally the after I list his height and weight, 6'2", 225. What's the next line say?
What a perfect Devin Bush looks like.
What a perfect Devin Bush looks like.
So you mean to tell me he knew he was playing Tennessee the following week? He knew he had Bama in the SEC championship?
When I watch Nakobe Dean, he moves like what we want Devin to move like.
Yeah.
He covers like what we would want Devin to cover like. He plays the run like what we would want Devin to play the run like. He blitzes the way we would want Devin to blitz. Like
outside type of stuff, like Micah Parsons type of stuff.
Like, dude can ball. He could ball. And he could cover it. He is a 3-down. Like, you don't take him off the field. He can do it all. And that's the funny part when we talked about these Georgia linebackers. Channing Tindall and Quay Walker, they rotated. They're seniors. This dude's a junior. They weren't even thinking about talking to him coming off the field because he's that talented, man. When I think of him, man, number one, fundamentally sound. You watch him every time he takes on the block. 2 hands, hitting low on the rise, good knee bend, consistently. You talk about him when he's tackling. Wraps up, head across the body, drives his feet. You talk about him in coverage. Uses his body, uses his feet, understands leverage, understands how not to get too handsy at times. To me, I just think, man, this is a guy that he plays crazy downhill against the run, and he uses his tools when winning as well. Like, you'll see him sometimes hat and hands a guy. You'll see him beat a guy with speed. You'll see him foot fake and backdoor. Like, his understanding and feel for the run is just top notch right now, sideline to sideline. And I could tell he's a very smart player. It's been times where I've even seen him get pissed with Channing. Because remember I said with Channing, sometimes I was like, I don't know if it's a football IQ thing or if he's just so gung-ho about physical or this or that. But it's been times where you can see them on tape and Nakobe is like, bro, it's here. You got to change here. And it's simple things like just when you're playing man-to-man coverage. If me and you are man-to-man on this camera and this, AC unit, we can't be like this because we're on the same level. So if those two guys have any cross motion, what's going to happen to us? We're going to hit each other. Nakobe understood that on a couple of plays. Channing didn't on a couple of plays. And you can see Nakobe as soon as the play happens. He gets a PBU, he turns around and he's ripping him. Da-da-da-da. Channing just takes it because he knows, like, yo, you right. That's the stuff that I like about Nakobe because it just continues to show where he's at mentally, not just as a football player, but as a leader. He's not afraid to call out his guys if they're messing up. He demands that from them. I like that because what are we missing right now? We don't have that alpha at linebacker. We don't have that leader at linebacker. We don't have that guy that when he speaks, everybody listens. This is a guy that, from what I've seen on tape, he commands that. And that's something that I do like a lot, man.
That's what I even thought, just looking at the highlights. Mm-hmm. Now, you brought up coverage. Everything I saw, the coverage looked amazing. Mm-hmm. Something I read was at times we get torched by some tight ends in college.
So
they think that's not going to translate as well to the NFL.
Now, this is what you have to worry about right here with him in coverage. He needs to, I have it right here. He needs to clean up his coverage because at times I think he sees too much in the sense of he's such a smart player that instead of him just focusing on this guy right here,
he's trying to do someone else's assignment.
Absolutely. I think I have that up there. I also think that at times it's weird because of how the NFL calls it right now. I say handsy, but I'm saying that in retrospect because of the Logan Wilson going into the first down that they gave him on the PI where he's like, he's barely having his hands on, I think it was on Cooper, if I remember correctly. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Right in the red zone. It was like, and they ended up getting the first down. It was like, okay, I can see you calling it, but at the same time, I can see it being ticky-tack as well. But depending on how they call it will determine how I feel about him being handsy versus some of these guys or not. Because if he's allowed to do some of that touching, I don't think it's going to be an issue. And I think that he'll be fine. But if he can't and he is forced to just hands behind your back when you guard these guys, well, yeah, he's going to struggle. And a lot of dudes will struggle if that's the case. But we just don't know how they're calling it. I think he's easily, like, zone coverage. I don't even sweat zone coverage for him because his play recognition, his ability to read the quarterback, understanding when to break and how to break.
It's mainly him against, like,
absolutely.
the
but when
elite tight end.
You're saying man-to-man versus elite guys, that's where he has to clean up. And even with that, though, I feel like you can coach it up because with him, like I said, man, you just got to understand, like, hey, you don't always have to beat the guy to the spot. You don't always have to run your fastest every time. Understand your leverage. Just understand, hey, maybe instead of reaching, just shuffle a little bit here. Maybe instead of, trying to force this action, allow him to drive it right here while you're in coverage because you're fast. If you're athletic enough that you can cut this right here, your body position is going to take this route away and you're protecting on the deep by the safety. Like, that's the type of stuff that if I'm talking to him, how I would like talk to him about that because he definitely has all those other intangibles. Like, you're not worried about that with him. Even when we talk about Channing, like, he's already developed. Like, I think to me, Nakobe is ready to come in day one and he's your guy. Now with Nakobe, you're going to have to move up more than likely to get him.
You think? I've been seeing some stuff he's dropping.
But this is the thing. We know how this time of year goes. Oh, he's dropping. Okay, until a team at 12 or 15 is like, yo, I need a linebacker that can come in here and ball right now. Giants got 2 picks in the first round. That's what I think of. I think of him with a Blake Martinez. I'm like, bro, that'd be filthy. I don't see them passing on him at that second pick. Those are the type of things that I kind of look at where it's like, oh, yeah, we can talk about a guy dropping or not, but the dude can ball, bro.
Oh, yeah. The thing that maybe could make him drop is actually just him being a little undersized at 6 foot. Now, I don't know.
He is short. Yeah, he does look a little shorter.
Well, we talked about Devin Bush, though. Like, that's the comp right there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I would like him on the team. No. I don't know if I feel scorned because of us drafting an undersized linebacker already and seeing how that worked out.
Yeah.
And also drafting another Georgia guy early in the first round, too.
Fair
Georgia
enough.
linebacker.
Yeah.
But no, you can't do that for everyone because if you have that mentality, Nick Bolton last year doesn't become what he is with the Chiefs, So I can't be doing that the whole time. It's just that you compare him to a dude like Tyndall or even like Devin Lloyd who have that, like, the size, the speed, that JOK type of stuff from last year that gets you like, wow, like if he's in our system. At the same time, there's something to it. Dude just knows how to play football and is the leader too. But he has all that athleticism too. I saw how he was blitzing. I think him and Tyndall actually have very similar games whenever they're blitzing.
They definitely do. They absolutely do. They just look different because one is like tall and lean and one is like short and stocky. But yeah, that's why for me, like when I look at Nakobe, I say, man, he's day one ready. I just think with Channing, I don't feel as comfortable putting him out there day one as the guy. If he's robbing day one, that's cool. And you get time to develop. But in our situation, we're not probably going to be drafting a Robin.
Well, and that's why he's probably going to go second or third round too.
Because that's the part that's different because we haven't even seen him as the guy even at Georgia just yet. So it's still a lot more speculation and projection, whereas Nakobe, I just think that he is probably, of the linebackers that we've been talking about, he's probably the safest of the bunch just in terms of like how well-rounded he is. But this next guy we're going to talk about, man, like he moves that needle as well. Before we get to him with Nakobe, because I have been really highlighting his positives. Another thing that I would say in terms of if I had a knock on him, I would just say he's not overly strong. Like you watch Channing wins like when he's more of like the sheer force and speed, but he's not a big puncher either. When I watch Nakobe, there have been linemen that get up on him, and when they do, if he doesn't get his hands on them first or win with that foot fake, he will get bombed.
No.
But the thing is this. But this is the thing, though. Of the 3 games I watched, I only saw it twice. 3 games, he plays every snap. 2 of the games one was the SEC championship, one was the national championship.
So this is nitpicking.
So I'm talking about Alabama 2 times. Okay, just throwing it in context. Outside of that, I'm like, I haven't seen a ton of guys even getting up on him. And like I said, with that, is that a concern? Sure, because of the whole Devin Bush thing. But the difference to me is this.
Maybe we should build a better defensive line for Devin Bush.
Well, the thing for me is this. I would say when I watch Devin versus Nakobe this season, not pre-injury, but just this season, Devin still was hesitant to go downhill to actually shoot his gun. Nakobe is never worried about triggering. And that's big reason why Nakobe wins when he gets to these linemen. Because he's hitting them when they're only 1 to 2 yards up. Whereas Devin is waiting and he's catching when they got a full head of steam. night and day. But that goes back to your eyes and your play recognition. I can't tell you to play fast if you don't even know what to look at. Because you're going to be like, all right, play fast. What do I do? Do I run here? And then what do we say at times when we watch Devin? We say, well, he's running, just not the right direction.
What do you think it was with him? The knee then? When it really comes down to it?
No, for me, to this day, I feel like he needed to increase his film study. Like, and when I watch him, I didn't feel like athletically he couldn't run fast. I didn't feel like athletically he couldn't shuffle. I didn't feel like athletically he couldn't break down, because I would see him do it in the games. I would even point to you and say, hey, look, he just did it right here. Here's the play right here. We would see it. Problem was he wasn't doing it consistently enough. And you don't do it consistently enough when you just don't know it. Think about going to take a test. If you know all the information, man, they're going to take you long. You go in there, boom, got it. If you know 50% of the information, you're going to feel great about that, of these plays. And after that, you over here like, ooh, all right, hope for the best. And when I watched Devin, that's kind of how I felt.
You weren't surprised by his answer about not knowing the opponent then?
Oh. I try not to get on him so much because I don't want to be the guy that keeps talking about him. That's all. Because then they'd be like, oh, man, you hating on him. Oh, is it personal? I'm like, no, it's none of that. I'm just talking about how to play it.
There's a reason we're talking inside linebackers here for the draft.
Exactly.
So we shouldn't be talking about these guys. We shouldn't. We just spent a 10 overall pick a couple years back.
And even a free agency move where you traded for Joe Schobert. Like, we only doing this because of what was out there on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
It is. But Nakobe would definitely ease my mind. That's all. If that was the guy that we went with, he would ease my mind in a big time way.